Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 359 of the report. And yo, man, it's been a week since the last time I talked to y'all. And I don't know why, but I am a little bit out of my little sync or whatever, man. I like my routine and shit has been thrown off, and I don't quite understand why it is, but it has been, man. So, forgive your boy if the shit ain't right tonight. You know what I'm saying? Forgive your boy if the shit ain't right tonight. But yo, man, it's been a week since the last time I talked to y'all, man. And we getting right back into it. We getting right back into how we do things, man. But of course, before we do everything, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast. Let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here and responded to here live on the show. Also, email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. You can go ahead and watch, send us those emails, and of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, hit up our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there. You can watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, we got the business about it away. We go ahead and pull that down and put the real shit back up. But yeah, man, first things first, man. How you doing? Right. How y'all doing? It's Palm Sunday, man. So I know for those of you who are like, going to church and stuff, man, I know the churches have been thick, these last couple Sundays, man. It's going to get even thicker come next Sunday, man, because, you're going to have a whole bunch of Christians, man, that don't really be in the church like that. They're going to be in the church for Easter Sunday. They're going to be in the church when they come for Christmas. That's the only time you're going to see them niggas, man, real talk. But, nah, man, real talk. Hopefully everybody's is having a joyous holiday season around this time, man. And, it's a good time to be around family. It's a good time to enjoy each other and everything. So first things first, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that your man Spann isn't I hope that y'all are enjoying your people. Real talk. But we're going to get things started here. And first things first, I do have a couple random thoughts, man. Your man Spann been thinking about some things over the course of the last few weeks, and I just feel like I can share these thoughts with you guys, man, because, we're family, right? We're family, right? And I feel like I can share these things with y'all, and maybe y'all can help me make sense of the things that I've been thinking about, right? So one of the first things I was thinking about, right? Of course, you guys know, it's very obvious, even if you're watching your man Spann here live right now, man, I'm from Chicago, right? Chicago is like, it helped me become the person that I am. It kind of helped mold the nigga and everything, right? And one of the things about being a Chicagoan, especially from the south side of Chicago, is that, like, Harold's Chicken is a staple in the south side of Chicago, man. Like, every time I go home, man, it's like one of the first things I do is like, okay, we got to go to Harold's. I didn't turn my daughter into like a Harold's fiend too. So like when we go to Chicago, she's fiending for the Harold's Chicken and shit too, right? So one of the things I was thinking about earlier this week, man, Chicago, the food there is amazing. And, we export a lot of our like restaurants and stuff like that across the country. Like Giordano's now is becoming one of those pizza places that like they branched out now. Like there's like Giordano's here in Detroit. I can't say how many other cities that Giordano's is in, but like they've been branching out. I remember there was like a J&J fish and chicken joint. Like I've seen those in Indiana. I've seen a couple of them here in Detroit. And I was like, man, we got J&J's in Detroit. That's crazy, right? But the one thing that we don't have here in the city of Detroit is a goddamn Harold's Chicken. And I don't know how to feel about it, man. Like, I really don't. I don't know how to feel about the fact that here we are in Detroit, man. Like, it's not like Detroit is like a 4-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive, depending on how fast you're driving. It's 3.5-hour, 4-hour drive between Chicago and Detroit, right? And there's a lot of people, man. Like, I know my family wasn't the only people that had like family in Chicago and Detroit. There's a lot of times, we traveling back and forth amongst each other. I see a lot of people from Detroit. They go to Chicago for the weekend, they kick it and stuff, and then they come back home and talk about how like Chicago ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I see you niggas all the time, right? No, but there's the thing, and I'm like, man, wait a minute. Why don't we have a Harold's, right? And then it to throw salt on the wound, to throw salt on the wound. You got a Harold's Chicken in Atlanta. Niggas telling me they got a Harold's Chicken in Houston. Somebody told me they got a Harold's Chicken in Indianapolis. They got a Harold's Chicken in motherfucking Las Vegas. Now here's the tripped out part, right? So I got family in Las Vegas, and one of my younger cousins was talking about like Harold's Chicken and stuff. And I've known that girl, like I'm the old cousin now, right? So I've known her since she was like an infant, like a baby. She's never really been to Chicago, and I'm like, wait a minute, like how the fuck you know about Harold's? She's like, oh, we got Harold's out here, and I'm like, y'all got what? Y'all got Harold's out there? They don't even have White Castles out there, but they got a Harold's. That's crazy, right? And so, like, I don't know how to feel about that, bruh. Like, yo, man, Harold's Chicken, if you're listening, y'all should probably bring a Harold's Chicken to the D, man. Like, I'm a little upset at the fact that y'all, you know, ain't really fucking with Detroit like that. Like, yo, y'all could make a hell of a lot. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, the only chicken game here in Detroit that's even worth a damn is probably from a fish joint. It's like Fresh Fish House. I fuck with they fish, and they chicken heavy. But they ain't fucking with the Harold's with the mild sauce. Give me a half white with the mild sauce and the catfish, baby. I miss that shit, man. I miss that shit. And I don't know how to feel about the fact that we ain't got no goddamn Harold's Chicken in Detroit. It's some bullshit. It's a goddamn travesty. It's an outrage against nature. That's what the fuck it is, right? But I was thinking about that. Maybe y'all can. Somebody told me that like I should probably just buy a franchise and shit and just like have the franchise here in Detroit. It's like, nigga, I want chicken. I don't want another responsibility though. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want a whole other motherfucking restaurant that I gotta run and shit. Nigga, I got other things that I need to do and that I want to do, and it ain't running the damn chicken spot. Real talk. But that was one of the things I was thinking about, man. Another thing I was thinking about, why doesn't like DirecTV and Dish Network come and get their old equipment when you ain't got their services no more? Am I the only one who like looks at somebody's house and they got like 5 or 6 like satellite dishes on their shit and wonder why like when the dude came to install the new satellite dish, he ain't just take the old one with him? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then on top of that, like, yo, Dish Network, DirecTV, if you're listening, like if they decide they don't want your service no more, and then they like, okay, fuck it, we gonna come back and we gonna get the service again. Do y'all put a new dish on there, or do y'all just hook up the old one again? You know what I'm saying? And what does the new one do that the old one doesn't? You know what I'm saying? It's just real tripped out to walk up on somebody's house and they got like 4 or 5 different satellite dishes on their crib. Only one of them work. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that a thing? Why aren't the installers taking the old shit with them? You know what I'm saying? Like Comcast, you know, they be on you about them boxes and shit. I never forget one time I turned in the box to a Comcast employee and they was like, yeah, they tried to charge me for the damn box that I had already turned in. I was like, hey man, I don't know what your employee did with that motherfucker, but I've been turned that boy in. He gave me a receipt and everything, so they had to like, you know, X that shit out. But I'm just saying, like, yo, they like all this old equipment that y'all got out here, like, y'all, shouldn't there be a law against that? Like, y'all should just come out here and get y'all old shit, you know? This is how I know I'm old. Right? This is how I know I'm old. These are the things that I be worried about. Like, man, why they got all them goddamn satellite dishes on their house? That's crazy. I was thinking about that. Another thing I was kind of thinking about, fellas, if you find yourself a man of a certain age and you have like a suit jacket in your closet, and say, for instance, said suit jacket has like sequins on it or rhinestones of some sort, and your ass is not a blues or R&B singer, you might have just reached peak uncle status, dog. Like I it's almost like it's like the combination of the suit jacket with all of like the shiny shit on it. It's the velvet jacket with the Newsboys cap. Like there's a lot of Detroit niggas that really like that shit. Or it's the Averex jacket. Like you still rocking the Averex jacket with the Newsboy cap. Peak uncle status, yo. You are like Uncle-less prime and shit in the uncle game. if you got any of these motherfucking items in your closet, man, you probably reach peak uncle status right now. And I'd probably chuck that shit if I was you. I'm just saying. I would probably do that. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying I would do that. That's all I'm saying. But yo, man, let's get into the motherfucking news, yo. First things first, let's not get into the news. I forgot all of a sudden. I gotta listen to emails, man. I gotta listen to feedback to respond to. I almost forgot that shit, and my apologies. But yeah, let me get to this list of feedback before I get into the news. So we got an email here. This comes from the homie Reggie. Reggie writes in to say, hey Spann, first things first. I've been enjoying the way you've done the show the last couple of episodes. Appreciate you, brother. From the deep dive on the political reasons of why the trans women swimmer is such a big story to the panel discussion about the Will Smith Chris Rock altercation, you've been killing it, and you most definitely need those to get those panelists back. Yeah, we can definitely do that again, man. Like, it's been a while since I had the homie Brandon on here. It's good to talk to him. And y'all know Cook is family here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. So highly inappropriate will be coming back real soon as she, gets her things in order, right? So yeah, man, it's nothing. And my man Jack, like, it's an open invitation, man. So like, I enjoyed that conversation. I enjoyed having it with them. And yeah, man, we could definitely do that again sometime soon. Permitting everybody's schedules is like, in line, right? Because, everybody's busy, man. So a couple quick questions I got for you, though, is this. One, you said on the show a few times that if someone apologizes for their actions, then you look silly defending them after they've admitted to wrongdoing. However, you seem to still be quite defensive of Will Smith, despite the fact that he since apologized for slapping Chris Rock. How do you reconcile that? Okay. So here's the thing. As I've said on the show, and as I think I've said it on social media quite a few times, man, I'm just not upset with Will Smith with what he did. There's a bunch of people who are like acting as though Will Smith betrayed everything that they believed him to be, that Will Smith just betrayed blackness, that Will Smith has brought forth an undue amount of scrutiny to the black community in some sort of weird way. I'm just of the mindset that, like, I'm not in the business, and it's not my ministry to police how another person defends their spouse, man. I'm just not. And, as I said on the show, what he thought and how he felt about that situation was that what Chris Rock said was disrespectful. It's not for me or anybody else to determine whether or not what Chris Rock said to his wife was disrespectful. Respect or lack thereof is usually, dependent upon who said disrespect or respect is being meted out to. And so, my thing was, like, I'm just not of the business. I'm just not in the business of, like, telling people how to respond to, or better yet, how to defend those they love. Right. I've said that there could have been a different way. Of course, there could have been a different way for him to handle it. It could have been at an after party. It could have been during the speech, during the acceptance, his acceptance speech for the Best Actor Oscar and everything else. He could have handled it in a bunch of different ways. But I think in that moment, he got the desired result that he wanted from Chris Rock was, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. And the response from Chris Rock was, oh, I am. Right. And even right now, Chris Rock refuses to even talk about it. I mean, he jokes about it. I saw something where he said something to the effect of, I'm not going to say anything about this until I get, proper compensation. Like, somebody's going to have to pay me to talk about this shit. And so, yeah, man, it's just, I'm not necessarily making excuses for Will Smith. I'm just saying, like, I ain't mad at him. And, to say that you're not mad at him or that you're not upset with him in this particular climate right now, just to some people, is, anathema to, common decency, I guess. But, that's just where I stand with it. I was not upset when it happened. I'm not upset with him now. And that's how I reconcile it. Like, I'm not making any excuses for Will Smith. I'm just saying that I'm not upset with him in the least about what he did. And secondly, have you ever personally dealt with a situation where you felt someone was disrespectful to Mrs. Spann in your presence, and how did you handle it? Okay, so yeah, there were a couple of different instances where some shit happened, and they weren't like real big incidents. Like, they weren't real big incidents. Hold on a second, my earphones keep going in and out for some odd reason. Okay, but no, they weren't real big incidents. But there was one time where we were in a bar in New Orleans. This was during one of our anniversary trips to New Orleans for the Red Dress Run. And my wife wears her hair short. She also wears her hair short. Like, she's been wearing her hair short for quite some time. And we were in the bar. We were drinking. We were dancing, having a good time, man. Just enjoying the motherfucking atmosphere. And some dude walks past my wife, It was a white guy. He saw her, and like for whatever the fuck reason, he decided that he was gonna reach out and pat my wife on the head like she was a goddamn puppy.
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah. And in that moment, when it happened, I was about to take off on this nigga. I was about to take off on him. Wasn't even thinking about it. And yeah, it's probably because I had a few in me. Wasn't even thinking about it. I was about to take off on him. The only thing that stopped me was my wife. She was the only one, like, cause, you know, and she like just kind of grabbed me and was like, hey, like, listen, nigga, we can't have you going to jail down here in New Orleans. That can't be a thing. And so, like, she kind of pulled me away from that situation. But yeah, I was ready to go right then. Like, I didn't know who he was with, didn't care. I was ready to go, like, because I was not about to allow my wife to be disrespected in front of me. There was another instance where, again, this is in New Orleans. I know this sounds crazy because you're like, nigga, you love going to New Orleans. And these are, like I said, these were like kind of like minor incidences, but like, yo, like, just letting it be known that like you just can't allow people to just like you can't allow people to think that disrespect is going to be tolerated, right? And so there was this instance where we were on Bourbon Street. It was my wife, myself, and one of her cousins. And my wife and her cousin, they were dancing. I forget exactly what the name of that bar is, but we were like on the street, man. We were on Bourbon Street, and my wife and my wife's cousin and myself, we were like just kind of, they were dancing, and I'm trying to, you know, just kind of watch over them, pretty much, make sure that they're okay. And there was a couple white guys, couple like gay white guys. They came up, they were dancing and stuff like that, and one of them turns around and he says, they're trash, right? At least that's how I heard it. He said, they're trash. And so when he said it, I instantly was like, whoa, what was that? What'd you say? Because instantly he thought that they were there by themselves. They were not there by themselves. So when I came in to like kind of check the situation, he's like, oh, no. I'm saying, you know, they're trash. This is like, you know, they're drunk, man. Like they're all over. They're kind of sauced and everything. Like, yeah. Clean that up, you know? And so, you know, instantly like his tone changed, his posture about it changed because I was there to make sure that, the disrespect wasn't going to be tolerated. Now the ironic thing about this is that they had a woman with them as well. And this woman, you know, she comes to me and she says, well, you know, she called her friends the F word, right? And I'm looking at her like, yeah, that shit ain't cool either, right? So I don't know if she just assumed that because I'm a black man that I would be cool with the, you know, with the homophobia and everything else too. So I say all that to say that, yeah, there are different ways to handle the shit, but also letting folks know that you're not just gonna tolerate the bullshit. And so, yeah, there were a couple of times where somebody thought they were going to be able to do that in front of me, and they found out very quickly that they weren't going to be able to do that in front of me. And so that's why I have the perspective that I do on this particular thing, because I saw so many dudes, man. I saw so many dudes justifying why it would be okay for a Chris Rock to say something about Jada Pinkett in that moment, and they didn't expect or shouldn't expect Will Smith to say anything at all about the situation. And it just, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more on the show, because like, I first things first, like there's one topic about the Will Smith shit that we're going to talk about later in the show. But like, I'm kind of burnt out on the Will Smith talk, because like there's so many other different things that people are like bringing up about Will Smith, and it's like, all right, man, y'all really are milking this for all it. Like y'all are milking this fucking cow for real. But yeah, man, like I'm not a proponent of allowing people to just disrespect folks that I love in front of me, man. I'm just not. And yeah, that's how I reconcile a lot of the things that I'm talking about as far as Will Smith is concerned. Am I saying that he should have slapped the shit out of Chris Rock? No, I'm not saying he should have done it. I ain't mad that he did it. That's all. That's it. So yeah, man, I appreciate the email, and I hope to hear from you again soon, Reggie Brother Real Talk. But now we can get into the news. What the hell is up with these headphones, man? All right. And now I can't hear myself. What the hell? Let's see. Hold on a second, people. Jesus. Okay. There we go. I can hear myself now. All right. Let's see. Let's get into my news here. I told y'all, man, my whole shit is thrown off tonight. But yeah, we get the first story. This comes out of theroot.com, as we talked about Will Smith. The Root is reporting that according to them, Will Smith has officially been banned by the Academy Awards to the tune of 10 years from the Oscars. Yeah, we'll read this story. It says, while it's been nearly 2 weeks since the infamous Will Smith-Chris Rock slap incident occurred at the 2022 Oscars, the Academy has finally handed down its reprimands for the King Richard Starr. After a nearly 3-hour-long Board of Governors meeting on Friday, per an official open letter to our Academy family from Academy President David Rubin and CEO Dawn Hudson sent to the Root, the Academy has decided to officially ban Smith from attending any Academy events or programs, in person or virtually, included but not limited to the Academy Awards, in addition to accepting his resignation from the prestigious membership. The 94th Oscars were meant to be a celebration of the many individuals in our community who did incredible work this past year. However, those moments were overshadowed by the unacceptable and harmful behavior we saw Mr. Smith exhibit on stage. The letter began, during our telecast, we did not adequately address the situation in the room. For this, we are sorry. This was an opportunity for us to set an example for our guests, viewers, and our Academy family around the world, and we fell short, unprepared for the unprecedented. It continued. Today, the Board of Governors convened a meeting to discuss how best to respond to Will Smith's action at the Oscars, in addition to accepting his resignation. The board has decided for a period of 10 years from April 8th, 2022, Mr. Smith shall not be permitted to attend any Academy events or programs in person or virtually, including but not limited to the Academy Awards. We want to express our deep gratitude to Mr. Rock for maintaining his composure under extraordinary circumstances. We also want to thank our hosts, nominees, presenters, and winners for their poise and grace during our telecast. Now, I'm going to just come out here and say this right now. Uh-oh. Let me pull that down. But yeah, I'm going to say this right now. I don't believe that this dude's going to be, I don't believe he's going to be gone for 10 years. I don't. I really don't believe that there's something that's going to happen for 10 years. What I think is going to happen is this. Will Smith is going to be out of the Oscars. He's going to be banned from the event and all the virtual stuff. He won't attend there for probably 4 to 5 years. And people are going to like move on. People are not going to be as upset as they are right now. And they are going to like not even be as like they're not going to be as upset about this as they are at this particular moment. And so because they aren't going to be as upset, and because they're going to feel like, well, people will be like, oh man, I kind of understand why he did what he did, or yeah, maybe he was having a mental break, or they're going to come up with all these other different things as to why they believe that, like, yeah, they were being heavy-handed right now, but because we want to send a message. We can't allow people to believe that they could just do anything they want at the Oscars. Because, like, let's keep it a buck, y'all. Many of the people who are talking about what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars, most of us, the vast majority of us, don't watch the Oscars to begin with, right? Let's just keep that all the way 100. Lots of us don't even bother to watch the Oscars. Many of the awards that the Oscars give out, a lot of the winners of those awards, some of those are like movies and like actors and shit like you never heard of, the movies you haven't seen, a lot of the mainstream stuff that you really do like and enjoy. Those movies and those actors weren't winning those awards. So a lot of folks just weren't really paying attention to the Oscars. And this is the most attention that the Oscar awards have gotten in quite some time, outside of when there were, say for instance, like when we thought like, okay, so Halle Berry and Denzel Washington were going to win Best Actor and Best Actress for Monsters Ball and Training Day, or when there was the outcry of Oscars so white and there were so few black actors and directors and movie makers who were putting out quality content but weren't being recognized by the Oscars at all. And you go back to like like when Chris Rock was, I believe he was made host that year during the Oscars So White, and people thought that like Chris Rock was going to go out there and he was going to excoriate the Oscars for being so white. That's not what he did. You know, as a matter of fact, that could have been the precipice or the prelude as to why Will Smith felt like he needed to smack the shit out of this nigga when he was at the Oscars this year. Like, hey man, keep my wife's name out your mouth, because he led off with the jokes and shit when it came to her not being invited to the Oscars and everything else. So yeah, I don't believe that Will Smith is gonna be gone from the Oscars in 10 years. But even so, right? Is that really like a punishment? Right? Like, again, like these are events that like especially I'll say it this way. As black folks, I don't know too many black folks who really give a damn about the Oscars until one of us is like, yo, really up for one. And it's not like we sit around. It's not like as if the vast majority of black folks sit around waiting on like the Oscars to come on, or that we looking forward to it and everything. And not to say that there aren't, because I'm sure there's a there's a nigga that's like down with everything, right? So I don't need y'all like writing in or anything else. Like, yeah, I'm that nigga that like I watch the Oscars every year. Like, all right, cool, nigga, we not talking about you. But I'm just saying that like I don't know too many people who gonna be broke up at the fact that Will Smith ain't gonna be at the Oscars for 10 years. I don't even think Will Smith is gonna be broke up about not being at the Oscars for 10 years, right? Real talk. And so yeah, they handed down their decision to say that he won't be, allowed to their events for 10 years. I'm here to say right now, I don't believe it's going to be 10 years. I give it 5 years max, and then Will Smith will be right back in the thick of shit. The other part about it is like I've been seeing so many different stories, man. It's been weird. Like I said, folks have been really milking this Will Smith shit, and like I've seen like folks talking about some Willow Smith wrote a letter to Tupac has resurfaced. There's video of Will Smith, a tense exchange between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith during while they were videoing each other without permission or some shit like that. And it's just like, man, people are just looking for every little thread about this family to talk about them, to justify what their dislike of them. Because here's the thing that with what happened with Will. People could talk about whether or not he had this well-cultivated image and like that's been torn down, and all these different things, man. But one of the things that has happened with this particular incident is that the people who don't fuck with you, and I say this shit all the time, the people who don't fuck with you will not hesitate to let you know that they don't fuck with you, right? And there are people who don't like the Smiths who've been waiting in the wings. And they like, yo, man, all the dirt that we got on these motherfuckers, let's let this shit out right now. Hey, remember that shit, the little letter that Willow wrote years ago? Let's bring that shit back up. Remember that little tense exchange that they had on the IG Live? Let's bring that shit back up. Like, every little thing, every little thread that folks can have to pull at with these people, they've been doing that. And one of the things I like when it comes to celebrity, and I've been saying this on the show for a while too, man, we don't know these people. Bottom line. We do not know these people. And what happens is because we don't know these people, we feel as though we have to fill in all these blanks and shit. But the other part about it is how much social media plays into this, right? So because social media is a thing, and like to some degree, like we have a little bit more access to celebrity. We have a little bit more access to information about actors and actresses and everything, where we feel like we know them. We feel like we can reach out and touch them and everything else. We feel like we have connections with them. We don't know that we may be, conversing with their social media manager or their content creation, consultant or whatever the fuck. We don't know that. We just feel like, oh my God, Will Smith followed me on Twitter. Jada Pinkett Smith responded to me on Facebook Live. We don't know if we're actually interacting or conversing with these people or not, but we feel like we do, right? And so because we've got so much access, or we have so much more access than we used to, oftentimes, man, we got these, we just have these, attachments to their lives, but ultimately we just don't know these people. We feel like we do, but we really don't. And it's just really weird, to see all of these different angles being thrown out, all these threads being pulled, as far as like the relationships between that family. Now, yeah, some of it is them allowing us or allowing a lot of the, information to be put out. They would put their own dirt out to some degree. And they monetize that to some degree, like with the red table talk and everything else. But I'm just saying, man, like when it comes to like celebrity, there's this weird thing that's going on with celebrity, and there's also this weird thing between celebrity and social media and how we consume it. And it's just wild to kind of like watch how we create these narratives and how we attach ourselves to certain stories and how much we project our own particular situations onto that family because we don't know, right? Because we don't know. But yeah, man, Will Smith has been banned from the Oscars for 10 years. So yeah, there's that. That's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news has to do with the fact that, wait a second, Amazon. Okay, Amazon workers have been, they voted themselves into having a union. Yeah, man, we get this story here. This comes out of CNBC. And so we're going to read this story here. It says that Amazon workers on New York Staten Island just made history, becoming the first group to vote in favor of unionization at a U.S. facility operated by the country's largest e-commerce company. After a hard-fought battle, the result is a major defeat for Amazon, which has used all of its might to keep organized labor off of its premises. As of Friday, the tally at the Staten Island warehouse, known as JFK 8, was 2,654 votes in favor of joining the union and 2,131 opposed, with 67 ballots being challenged. The fulfillment center doesn't flip to becoming a union shop overnight, and there's potentially a long road ahead, but the wheels are in motion for a change. The Amazon labor union didn't even exist until last year. Now the grassroots organization that relied on a crowdfunding campaign to fund its organizing is responsible for negotiating a collective bargaining agreement on behalf of roughly 6,000 employees at Amazon's largest fulfillment center in New York. The ALU is led by Christian Smalls, a former JFK 8 manager who was fired by Amazon in 2020 after the company claimed that he violated social distancing rules. Rather than getting to dictate pay, benefits, and working conditions as it does across its massive network of offices, data centers, and warehouses, Amazon will now have to negotiate those key details with union leadership when it comes to JFK 8. Contract talks between the ALU and Amazon could start soon, but don't bet on it. Amazon will delay, said David Rosenfeld, a labor lawyer at Weinberg, Roger & Rosenfeld, and a lecturer at the University of California at Berkeley School of Law. They're not going to walk in and do the right thing because that will encourage organizing everywhere else. They'll do everything they can to avoid a contract, and it will be a big, long, nasty fight. According to an analyst published in June by Bloomberg, it takes on average 409 days for a CBA to be signed between employers and the newly unionized workers. If the goal is to delay, Amazon has unlimited resources to hire the top lawyers and consultants. The company has already expressed its disappointment with the outcome and said it's considering its options, including filing objections based on the inappropriate and undue influence of the National Labor Relations Board. Amazon didn't specify instances of improper meddling, but said the National Retail Federation and Chamber of Commerce witnessed the same behavior. So first things first, man, congratulations. Congratulations to all the newly unionized workers at Amazon in New York. I know there was a similar effort that happened in Bessemer, Alabama, that was voted down. The workers in that particular area, they voted it down. But what I will say is this, man. We talk about wages and wages, how they've stagnated over the course of the last 40, 50 years. And one of the reasons why wages have stagnated for so long and why our wages have not kept up with the rate of inflation has to do with the fact that unions have been, by and large, gutted all across America. At this particular juncture right now, only about 10 to 11% of all of American workers are unionized. Only about 10 to 11%. And it's interesting in the sense that, like, you know, a lot of companies will try to rationalize this, and they'll say, well, you know, We don't need a union to come in and give us, to tell us how to pay you. We already give you a competitive wage. We don't need a union to tell us how much vacation time you should get. We already give you, competitive, vacation time and things of that nature. But what they don't tell you is that a lot of the reasons why you even have some of the holidays that you have off, the reason why you work the 5-day work week, the reason why you have the 40-hour-a-week work week, the reason why you get the paid vacation, the reason why you may even have employee or employer provided health care and things like that, or because of unions, right? And the middle class in America was built on the back of unions. Like if you by and large, man, union workers make more money than those who are not unionized. Let's just keep that a buck. And so, as we watch people like fight for, people are like, especially like fast food workers and stuff. I know they're like on the front lines of this whole fight, and people think of them first when they talk about, $15 an hour minimum wage. Like, yeah, $15 an hour would be nice compared to what they have, but even now that's not even enough, right? If the minimum wage 5 years ago had kept up with the rate of inflation, they probably, like, the minimum wage would probably already be over $20 an hour. So like the $15 an hour isn't even enough, right? And so for the, like, Amazon, a company as big as Amazon with a CEO as wealthy as Jeff Bezos, who's like taking his ass up to space and shit. He got so much money, he don't know what the fuck to do with it. Like, yeah, maybe I should go into space and become an astronaut. You know what I'm saying? I got the bread. Why can't I do that? Now think about that for a second. One guy in that company is worth, I don't know, 60, 70 billion dollars. You know how many people, could like eat off of 60, 70 billion dollars? Like Jeff Bezos gave up half his bread during a divorce, and he wasn't hurting. He didn't feel it. And this is the thing that, like, when brothers talk about like divorce and stuff like that, like when they get mad at like when Jeff Bezos gets a divorce, or when Michael Jordan gets a divorce, or when Dr. Dre gets a divorce, and they're thinking about all the money that these dudes have to part with. But it's like, dude, like, that's not going to affect his day to day. It's not the same as you make $30,000 a year and you got to give up half, and now you make it 15. It's not the same thing, fam. It's just not. So like Jeff Bezos will be okay. Amazon will be okay if they parted a little bit more with some of the money that they make and give it a little bit more to those employees, the people who actually make it happen. You look up and you get your package in 2 days. You maybe get your package in 1 day. You get your Amazon key and all these things, right? They own Ring. A lot of y'all got those Ring doorbells, and y'all paying subscription fees for that, and y'all paying subscription fees for the Prime. You paying all these subscription fees for this stuff, and the workers aren't necessarily reaping the benefits of that all the way, right? Back-breaking work to make sure that, like, it's almost like magic. You put in, you clip in on Amazon Prime, you on your phone, you on your computer, you like, I want this, and I want this, and that shit show up at your house in 2 days. That's magic. But that's also hard work that somebody's doing, and they're not necessarily being compensated properly for doing it. And like, I'm always on the side of the workers, man. Like, even when we start talking about pro sports and stuff on the NBA or NFL or whatever, like when the players are like, yo, man, we should probably be getting compensated more. It's like, yeah, man, because they're making a hell of a lot of money for that league. Amazon workers are making a hell of a lot of money for the people up in the C suites and the executive suites and everything else. So it's great to see, the union being able to step in there and getting enough people to see the light, because there's the other part about this too. There are a few people who just don't believe in the idea that they should have representation until they get in trouble, right? Until they get in trouble. Like, so like here in Michigan, I know Michigan is an at-will state. And I'm sure I don't know exactly how many at-will states there are, but like, yo, essentially a job can fire you for whatever reason they feel necessary. Like they could not like the shirt that you have on that day. They could not like the fact that you wearing blue contacts that day. They could decide that, like, yo, you wearing cornrows. We don't need that here in our establishment. That's against our culture. We gonna get rid of you today. And one of the things that unions do is, like, hey, man, like, that isn't necessarily fair. Like, you didn't fire this person for like performance issues. You didn't fire this person for like attendance issues. You just fired this person because you didn't like them personally. And that person depends on this job to take care of their families, to provide for their people and everything else. Like, we should probably like be bringing these people in. And so one of the things that the pandemic really brought to bear was like, yo, these companies have been wilding. And the reason why these companies have been wilding is because there have been no repercussions against them, because people don't have the collective representation. And because they don't have the collective representation, the companies are like, man, fuck them. To get rid of them. We can get somebody else in here. You just churn, but it's churned out. And so I would hope that one of the things that this pandemic has taught a lot of people is that not only do these companies don't move without these employees who are like doing the day-to-day shit, but also like to come together and collectivize so that these companies can't take more advantage of the workers as is. I know a lot of people are like getting ready, like, this job is shit, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just pick up another one because the jobs are plentiful right now, because the employers are so desperate for employees at this particular moment. But I also want people to like really take advantage of this moment when it comes to unionization, and take advantage of this situation, because it could mean better wages. It could mean better benefits. It could mean better job protections, because so many people are walking like are being left out to dry because they don't have better job protections, and unions provide that. Now, are there, downsides to being a union? Yeah. Like, sometimes you might have an employee who doesn't necessarily need to have his job protected, but he's going to have his job protected. Like, he might not be as good as he should be, or he might be taking advantage of some of the benefits that come. I read a story out of the Philadelphia Inquirer last weekend. It was about the police over there taking advantage of some program called the Heart and Lung Fund or something like that. And these people were, these cops were like milking it. Like, they were like taking advantage of like injury. Basically, they would go off of work for being injured and never come back to work. Right? There was this one cop who was on that particular program. This dude was off of work, supposedly hurt. He had taken his family and moved to California. Now, he's supposed to be a Philadelphia police officer. This fool picked up, moved to LA like Will Smith in Bel Air. Moved his family to California. And the Philadelphia Police Department did a residency check, because, of course, I think they have a rule where, like, if you're going to be working in the city, you need to be a city resident. And he decided to put in his resignation, right? And then he signed up. He put in his resignation, and then he filled in for a disability pension, and he got that shit, right? Wasn't that he was really fucked up? He was just out here scamming. He had a whole other job as a motivational speaker, right? The other stipulation was that he wasn't supposed to have a second job because he was supposed to be out hurt, right? So yeah, there are situations where people can take advantage of that, but the vast majority of the American workers should be able to have some level of protections. They should be able to have someone step in and negotiate a fair and equitable wage, because when you have more people behind you who can, like, there's strength in numbers. Essentially, there's strength in numbers. And so, like, I'm happy that Amazon, or those workers at Amazon JFK8, have finally decided that they're going to have some union representation, and Amazon is going to drag their feet on this, as a lot of these companies are. They try to tell our workers that, like, being in the union is bad and everything else. But why would you be listening to the company tell you why the union is bad? Like, come on, man. Check out the Messenger. So yeah, man, that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news. Elon Musk has bought 9.8% of Twitter. Yeah, man. So we get this story here. This comes out of, I believe this comes out of this comes out of The Verge. And he bought 9.2%, my bad. 9.2% of Twitter amid complaints about free speech. So we get this here, like I said, we get this out of The Verge. It says Tesla CEO Elon Musk now owns 9.2% of Twitter, according to a 13G filing released Tuesday. Bloomberg News reports, according to the filing, Musk purchased a stake on March 14th. Musk has long been one of Twitter's highest profile users and recently pulled polled his over 80 million followers about the platform's adherence to free speech. Twitter shares price was up over 25% in pre-market trading on the news. CNBC notes that Musk's Twitter stocks were worth $2.89 billion based on Friday's closing price. Musk shares are classified as a passive stake, but Wedbush analyst Dave Ives told CNBC that the purchase could lead to some sort of buyout. Musk has been publicly calling into question Twitter's approach to free speech via a poll conducted on a Twitter account on March 25th. Free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? The CEO asked, before noting in a follow-up tweet that the consequences of this poll will be important. So here's the thing, right? A lot of right-wing folk tend to believe that their speech is being curtailed on social media. This is why, their sites like Parler that pop up, or Donald Trump, after he was kicked off of Twitter, decided that he was going to come up with his own social media platform called Truth Social, and like the irony of calling the shit truth, right? Because most of the shit that was coming out of Donald Trump's mouth was utter bullshit. But they have this idea that their speech is being curtailed, right? And the irony of it all, to me, is that these are the people who talk about the free market. These are the people who talk about, that like companies being able to operate as people. So, to be like, to treat companies as people. I know there was a Supreme Court decision that actually allows for companies to be treated as like almost persons. And I think that was like Citizens United. I believe that was what the case was, Citizens United. And so like, it's ironic that they keep acting as though Twitter, for one, like Twitter and Facebook are the platforms that are curtailing their speech. But these are the places that they tend to go to like spread most of their information, right? So like Facebook had become synonymous with like a lot of mass, disinformation, misinformation being spread amongst right-wing folk. Like you go into a certain group and you can, you could pass on some shit or a news article and everything else. This is before they started doing the fact checking and, telling you to like, okay, so this story has some erroneous information in it. They weren't always doing that. That came after the fact because there was so much mass disinformation and misinformation being used, like with Cambridge Analytica and, how they harvested information, how they harvested data, user data to come up with profiles as to, okay, what kind of information can we feed into who? Like, and they use Facebook data in order to do it. So these places weren't necessarily like, they weren't curtailing right-wing speech, but it's like, yo, y'all are saying some wild out shit, right? Y'all saying some wild shit. And oftentimes, man, when you're saying some fringe stuff, oftentimes, like, depending on where you are, time and place, right? People said time and place when it came to Will Smith and how he smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, right? Time and place. But the idea that a private company is now responsible for your free speech is anathema to what Republicans say, therefore, in the first place, right? And the other part about it is, we keep acting as though because we have the right to free speech, that our free speech shouldn't be met with any consequences, right? That's another thing that I thought was very interesting about the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. It's like, okay, here's free speech. Chris Rock was free to say what the hell he said. Here comes consequences, the 5 fingers to the face, right? And so, you can get on Facebook, you could say that, and then Facebook can say, hey man, you violated our terms of service that you didn't read, that none of us really read, because it's like a whole bunch of long legalese and shit, right? I've been in Facebook jail quite a few times at this point. I am a repeat offender. Oftentimes I'm put in Facebook jail because of some things I said years ago that I've completely forgotten about, right? And sometimes like they'll retroactively be like, yo, man, so you said this thing in 2013. Somebody just flagged it today. Your account is suspended for the next 2 weeks. You can't post. You can't comment on anything. You can see everything, but you can't say nothing. You can't, interact with anything. And I can sit there, I can bitch about it all day long, but ultimately, I did sign up for the terms of service and I do use their service. And like, all right, I guess I got to eat this one. But Republicans are like, how dare these motherfuckers? Do they know who the hell I am? Can I speak to Mark? I need to speak to Mark Zuckerberg because this is bullshit. You know, we gotta get our people together, and we gotta fight this tooth and nail. This is like, you know, our country can't be subject to this tyranny from Facebook and Twitter. We just can't. It's bullshit because they can't get on and say something racist. And oftentimes, man, when you're on a social media platform and they kick you off for whatever reason, you don't really have any recourse. I mean, yeah, you can appeal it, but that doesn't mean your appeal is going to be doesn't mean your appeal is going to be adjudicated by a person. It could be like, yo, the algorithm is like, nah, we just gonna let this motherfucker sit around for a while. He could take the break, right? But the idea that like Elon Musk buys up a bunch of Twitter in order to argue about the need for free speech is like, yeah, you got the freedom to say whatever the fuck it is you want to say, but freedom also comes with responsibilities, and responsibilities also come with consequences. And it's just weird to like watch how many of these people are acting as though consequences shouldn't be meted out. Suddenly you can say whatever the fuck you want to say, but like nobody is supposed to respond. Nobody is supposed to like, you know, come back at you. Suddenly like the comeback is the worst part about it, not the initial offense. So like it's crazy in that sense. The other part about it is, so say for instance, they do decide, like Elon Musk buys up enough Twitter or whatever and decides that like, yo, I want to bring Donald Trump back. All the people that have been kicked off of Twitter, I want to bring them back, allow them to say whatever the hell it is they want to say, this, that, and other. So all of these different companies that they've decided they wanted to come out with, like Parler and True Social, do those like apps and those social media platforms, do they just disappear now because y'all right back on the shit that everybody else is on? Like, so like, is it not okay for y'all to just be amongst yourselves and y'all own little shit where y'all making y'all stuff? Like, how does that work? Right? Or why would you want to be, so to speak, why would you want to be where they done kicked you out of here? You want to be back over here where the cool kids are, right? Oh, it's not the cool kids, but it's just like, is it not? Wait. You want to be back here where the cool kids are, but they're not the cool kids because you said they're not the cool kids. But like ultimately, you really want to be where they at, right? Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. But Elon Musk talking about free speech on social media is like, yo, man, the terms of service determine your free speech. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Free speech only protects you from persecution from the government. That's it. That's all. That's all it protects you from. Not from being banned on Twitter, not from being banned on Facebook, not from being banned on TikTok. Your rights on those sites are tied up in the terms of service that you agree to when you sign up for those sites, man. So that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news, Google is telling its employees to get ready to bring their asses back to the office. Yeah, man, we get this story here. This comes out of CNBC. It says that Google will end the voluntary work from home period and start having employees in the Bay Area and several other U.S. locations return to the office starting the week of April 4th. It's been a long and challenging 2 years since the vast majority of our people started working from home, wrote John Casey, Google's vice president of global benefits, in an email to employees that was viewed by CNBC. But the advances in prevention and treatment, the steady decline in cases that we continue to see, and the improved safety measures that we have implemented across our Bay Area sites now mean we can officially begin the transition to the hybrid work week. Casey said other offices in the U.S. and elsewhere will begin to return based on location conditions. Google's latest guidance comes after a week after CNBC reported that the company had been relaxing some of its COVID-19 mandates in preparation for a return. At the time, the company didn't determine a new date for the official return since it last pushed off January 10th. At the time, the company hadn't determined a new date for the official return since it last pushed off its January 10th deadline amid the Omicron surge. Google said it expects most workers to come into the work office 3 days a week and have 2 days of remote work. The note from Casey included previously reported guidance such as dropping the mask mandate and testing mandates for fully vaccinated employees, as well as the reopening of amenities such as cafes, restaurants, massages, and shuttles. Employees entering physical workspaces must well, employees entering physical workspaces still must be fully vaccinated or have an approved accommodation. So here's the thing, man. I know a lot of people are talking about, like, yo, man, like, the work from home thing works for me, man. Like what this pandemic has shown us is that these companies telling us that we can't work from home is complete and utter bullshit, and we should be able to work from home. I am just as effective here at my house as I am at the office, and if I could just be here at my house, then I will stay here at my house as opposed to go in there and dealing with them people in the office. And what wasn't really necessarily talked about is that these companies pay a lot of money in mortgages and leases on these buildings, right? And they are tied to those mortgages and those leases on those buildings. So they've got to be able to justify having these buildings and paying these mortgages and leases. And they can't justify having these mortgages and leases on these buildings if ain't nobody in the damn buildings. And so, like, truthfully speaking, the reason why the whole work from home, the remote work thing wasn't ever really going to be a permanent thing was because these companies had decided, like, yo, man, we got a physical presence in a real way. How can we justify having this, 5-acre campus where our employees can come and work and collaborate and, and do their thing if nobody's here? The whole remote thing, like, it's cool for certain people, but there's other people who it might not necessarily work for. There are certain people who, they'll want to come in and be in the office and have the office politics and all those other things. They want to go to the water cooler and talk shit about, everything that's going on in the office and like the politics of it all. Some people enjoy that, but then there are other people who don't. And so I feel sorry for the folks who really don't want to go back. Right. Because I know there's some people who really like, yo, man, I kind of want to go back to, to my regular routine. I kind of want to get back to that. There's a lot of folks who don't, though, and who have shown that they can be effective and a contributing part of their, the workforce by working from home. They're probably more effective at working at home. So, like, the fact that these companies are like trying to vibe back, the fact that these companies are trying to bring folks back doesn't surprise me, because again, they got to pay these mortgages, they got to pay these leases, and they got to justify why they're shelling out all this money for this office space, and they can't justify that if nobody's fucking there, right? So this is the reason why a lot of y'all about to return to the office as opposed to being able to work remotely from the crib, because they got to pay the mortgage, they got to pay their lease, and you can't just be at the crib and they got to pay these bills and they can't justify why. So yeah, man, that's what it is, man. That's really what it is all. That's what it boils down to me. But yo, that's been the news. But y'all know what time it is.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
Indeed. It is Blue Blazers time here at the Spann Report podcast. And our first story here in Blue Blazers has to deal with one Darius Cooks, right? His name is Darius Williams, right? But he goes by Darius Cooks on Instagram and Twitter and all these other places, right? I've seen this man's name trend on Twitter quite a few times, man. It was mostly because he was getting into it with other like food influencers, so to speak. I've heard that he was stealing other people's recipes, that he was having, some real unscrupulous actions around the social media space, right? But they did an investigation into this dude on Fox, or the Atlanta affiliate of Fox News, Fox 5 Atlanta, and apparently Darius Cooks is a real crook, man. Like, this motherfucker been out here doxing. He's been out here doxing his critics and his unhappy customers and whatnot. So we're gonna pull this story up. Let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. Hold on a second while I do this here. I should have had this already up. Spann, what are you doing, man? You're out here slacking. That's what you're doing. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. because there's video attached to this. So let's go ahead and see what they're talking about here at Fox 5.
Good food is supposed to nourish the soul as well as the body, but the Fox 5 I-Team says an Atlanta social media influencer who touts his cooking skills have left behind a mess of complaints.
That's right. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis spent time investigating a man who goes by the name Darius Cooks. You've been hearing a lot about this guy, Randy.
That's right, Courtney. Yeah, his real name, though, is Darius Williams. His restaurants in Atlanta are now closed. His hair business now shut down. But it's how he...
Wait, this nigga had a credit repair business too? Like, man, everybody jumped into the credit repair. I should have gotten the credit repair business. I fixed my own credit. You know, shout out to your boy. You know, I learned everything else, what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? But what I did not know is that y'all was out here paying everybody to do the credit repair shit. If I'd have known that y'all was paying everybody to do the credit repair, I could have been selling y'all the credit repair school shit too. Man, I missed out on that money. God damn it.
He treats his online critics through a practice called doxxing that may have you questioning his recipe for success. It's 4 hours before dinner at this rented house in Collier Hills. As addition to the menu for a host who clearly does not want to be on TV. What are you trying to tell me?
Hold on. So he's serving y'all out of Airbnbs? He ain't even got no restaurant. He's just like, y'all going to like these random houses to go eat the food? Okay, I guess. I mean, you know, to each his own.
Have the cameraman leave? Okay, go stand down there. So why are you putting the names of your critics and their personal information online?
You don't see that?
Yeah, I've seen the actual clips.
Let me call my lawyer.
Yes, please call someone. Help us understand why you're doing this on your social media pages to people who complain about you.
We got her kids on there as well, kids information. I put it on my Instagram.
And it has been a living nightmare.
A self-taught cook, Darius Williams has built an impressive online presence. Not just through his website, Darius Cooks TV, where he sells cookbooks and cookware mixed in with his cooking videos, but also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay, another question I got for the people that be in like the cooking stuff, right? So like the black gloves, did that make you official? You know what I'm saying? I be seeing that now. Like everybody be in the videos with the black gloves and shit. Like, are you official like a whistle with the black gloves when it comes to like food preparation and shit? Because I see that all the time on the videos. Like y'all don't even wear like, you know, I don't know, blue ones or white ones. It's like y'all gotta have the black ones on. Like the black ones are the ones that y'all gotta have in the food shit. It's like, is that what makes you official like a whistle? You know what I'm saying? Questions that I get. Questions that need answers here.
Where he claims 1.5 million followers. He also sells seats for 7-course meals called Dining with Darius, like the one we visited, held in various cities across the country.
Hold up. That shit said $298. $298 goddamn dollars. God damn. Y'all paying this nigga $298 to cook food that y'all could probably get your grandma's house? Word. Man, the fool and they goddamn money, man. Jesus.
Williams often goes live multiple times a day to talk about food, and sometimes brag about background checks followers send him about his critics.
I can tell you who got the speeding ticket. I can tell you who moved from what state to what state.
Just 3 years ago,
why would he need that much information on y'all to come eat food? Like, think about that, man. He needs to do background checks on y'all to come eat food. Y'all paying this nigga $300 to come eat some soul food, and y'all get a background check on back? Like, man, what? Why? Why y'all subjecting yourself to that shit? Like, I know people who like went to go see this nigga and like went to go have food made by this nigga, but why? Come on, man.
Georgia authorities shut down Williams' illegal credit repair business, including a $145,000 settlement. And in early 2020, before COVID, Williams suddenly closed his Atlanta restaurants.
Oh, so he had a
focusing
restaurant. Okay.
Instead on his online TV career, while also developing a side dish called doxxing. Sadly, the ingredients for doxxing are easy to find. Take a heaping cup of private or identifying information about someone, sprinkle some malicious intent, throw it on the internet, and watch how hot it burns. Remember those products Williams sells on his website? The Better Business Bureau gives his company an F rating because customers complain they never got what they ordered.
I started to notice a pattern of people coming on his live and asking about refunds.
It also bothered Danielle Holland that Williams would publicly blast some of those unhappy customers, posting their contact information like this woman, making fun of her, then sharing her brother's phone number when he tried to privately intervene.
Yeah, that's some hoe ass shit, man. That's some hoe ass shit. Like, here's the thing, like, I've been doxxed before, somewhat. I've talked about it a couple of times on the show. It's been a long time, but like, I remember doing the show live. This is like one of the reasons why I had taken the show off of YouTube for a little while, was because like I was doing the show, and of course y'all know your man Spann don't fuck with Donald Trump, but some of Donald Trump's fans got a wind of the fact that like, yo man, this dude is on YouTube and he's talking shit about Donald Trump. And so while we were doing the show live, there were people in the chat room looking me up, right? And they were looking me up in an attempt to, like, I guess scare me or whatever, but they were like putting up information in the chat room of like what they thought was like my address and telephone number and things like that. They were posting this shit in the chat room while we were doing it. Now here's the thing. Most of that information that they were putting up was inaccurate, right? But some of it was accurate. And so, it's like, yo, like, it's not cool. Like, it's not illegal for them to do it. I found out too, though. It's not illegal for them to like find out what your personal information is and then post that shit on the internet. And I feel sorry for anybody who was fool enough to who would have been fool enough to try to bring their ass to the crib and do something. Like, that wouldn't have been a smart move for you at all. But, yeah, man, like this sort of shit here, like this whole doxing thing, that's some bitch ass shit. And like, somebody should probably run up on him just on the strength of that. Like, just on the strength of that, man. That's some bitch ass shit to do.
In our story, we are blurring what Darius did not.
So he doesn't like criticism.
He doesn't like criticism. He doesn't like to be questioned.
The Detroit mom started anonymously retweeting some of the complaints she saw. Then one day, she looked at Darius's Twitter page.
I'm scrolling, and the next thing I know, I see a picture of me. I see a picture of my children and my husband. It was almost kind of like literally like an out-of-body experience.
They filed a police report and shut down their social media accounts. But their children's photos are still on Darius's page.
Randy, I'll be honest, I didn't even know what the term dox meant.
The Hollands quickly found others who say they're victims too, like Melanie's Ford of Atlanta. She says after she raised questions about Darius's tactics, his followers bombarded her too.
I was reached out
to. So here's another thing too, right? I'm trying to figure out, like, they're talking about his followers and shit. Like, so he posted public information on these people, or he posted their personal information on these websites. Like, is the food that slapping that you got to go out and reach out to these people who mad at him for not doing what the fuck he said he was supposed to do, or not providing the service that he was supposed to provide? Like, is the food that slapping that you feel like you got to defend him in that way to start harassing people who didn't get the experience that your ass did? Like, come on, man. Like, seriously. And I've said this on the show before. I'm going to say it again. Like, when the studies are done about what social media has done to our brains, man, it's going to be some wild and crazy shit to find out, like, how much it's altered how we think, how we behave, how it's altered our moral compasses, if that's a word, compasses. Right? But like, how it's altered how we believe what is appropriate and what isn't. And so, like, the idea that a cook, right, whose food you may have enjoyed, is having an issue with someone who didn't enjoy his food, or didn't enjoy the service, or didn't get what they paid for, that you now feel you have to take it upon yourself to harass that person on behalf of him because you paid $300 to eat his food? Make that shit make sense, man. Like, seriously, make that shit make sense.
Called all sorts of names. It was absolutely horrible.
So, more drama equals more likes.
He does this for likes, clicks, and engagement.
The food fight has even reached other TV chefs. Sonny Anderson and Andrea Davis, known as the Kitchenista, have issued public condemnations of Williams and his doxing.
This thing about doxing and cyber.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how he came on my purview. Like, I saw those interactions between those particular young women and Darius Cooks, and like, the back and forth, that shit would be happening on Twitter and everything. I would see those. That's how I became aware of who he was. Ironically, it was like the drama that made me aware of who this dude is. But like, I was like, oh damn, this is some social media shit, not knowing that all of this was behind what the fuck he had going on.
bullying is real, and it's hurtful, and it's hurting people.
So, what did the usually chatty Darius Williams finally have to say to us?
You could just go on record and say I'm declining the comment. That's it. Have a great day.
Well, wait a minute.
Yep.
These people are upset because you've been putting their personal information online, Darius. Come on, I thought you liked...
Again, some bitch ass shit, because you had all this shit to say on Twitter, on Instagram. You were doxing these people. You were putting their personal information out. Now the camera's being turned around against your ass, and suddenly like, oh, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm gonna say, I ain't got no comment, and then y'all have a good day, y'all, and like run your ass back into this Airbnb. Like, yeah, man, that's some hoe ass shit, man. That's some hoe ass shit. Darius Cooks is a goddamn crook. Darius Cooks is a goddamn crook. Darius Cooks is a goddamn crook. That should be like a song or something. Somebody make that shit. Somebody like put like hot trap beat on that. Like Darius Cooks is a goddamn crook. Darius Cooks is a goddamn crook. Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's do that. But yo, man, that's in Blue Blazers, man. Real talk. Let's see. We got some comments here in the chat room. Greg says, I have to see his food. I saw some of the food that he posted, man, on this particular news clip. But the thing is, man, like the shit look good. I'm not gonna even front on that. But one of the things that I saw during a lot of the social media interactions was that, like, apparently this dude has been accused of stealing recipes for not only just stealing recipes, but also people was like, yo, man, like, he ain't really making some really good shit, man. Like, hold on a second. He said, careful, Spann, he gonna pull your stuff out there. He can't pull shit out there on me. I've never seeked this motherfucker services out. And again, as I said, you would be a fool to show up here. Okay? You would be a fool to show up here on that foolishness on behalf of some cook that don't give a fuck about you. Come on, man. Just don't do it to yourself. Just don't do it to yourself. You don't want them problems, is all I'm saying. But yeah, man, that's some bitch ass shit, man. Like, I can't believe that, like, it's the auntie contingent, man. Like, is it the auntie contingent? Is the food banging like that? Because I can't believe, like, for one, y'all paying this nigga $300 for soul food, fam. Like, I can go to Motor City Soul Food right now, give me some smothered pork chops and some candy yams, some cabbage, and be great. And it's only $30, fam. It's $30 for a plate, and I would knock that shit off, be like, satisfied, right? Y'all paying this nigga $300 to go to an Airbnb and eat soul food. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, I get it having, like, the disposable income and shit. Like, like, I got $300. I can check this $300 off, man. Show boo, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do all that, but why? You know what I'm saying? But why? But that's in Blue Blazers, man. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazers, man. This is some crazy, crazy shit. And this is a Detroit story. This is a local Detroit story. And I didn't talk about this because we've been talking about Will Smith, and then we was talking about the transgender stuff, right? But this happened a few weeks ago. This happened March 28th. But this dude in Detroit, man, went to a gas station. His card was declined at the gas station. So y'all know what this nigga did? He pulled his dick out and started pissing on the potato chips, man.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn! What?
Yeah. Same reaction I had when I seen the shit on the news. And I'm putting this up so y'all can watch this shit right along with me here on the Spann Report. So yeah, let me show y'all this.
Starts peeing on all the...
Oh my goodness, that is so ignorant.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy, ignorant, stupid.
Oh, the things you'll see working the late shift as a gas station clerk.
This is my favorite gas station. I don't pee in there, though.
The mayhem after a dispute over a declined debit card at this Amoco station on Detroit's east side.
We're going to do the Macarena.
Okay, so first things first, man. It would be east side. I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm just saying it would be the east side. I've worked on the east side. It's a different culture there on the east side, man. I'm gonna just say that this sort of shit doesn't surprise me because it was the east side. I'm just, yeah, man, it's the east side, man. It's the east side. Like the Detroit east side, it's different. It's different. But yeah.
Yeah. The customer in the colorful hoodie decided to leave his mark, literally using a snack rack as a urinal. His buddy cheers him on as the man.
So here's the weird thing, right? For those of you who are not watching this here live with us, right? His friend also pulls his dick out while he has his arm around his friend who's taking a piss, right? Now, listen. So there's rules, right? There are rules, right? Even if you my partner, one of my best homies, one of the guys I consider my brother, I don't want you putting your arm around me while I'm taking a piss, bruh. Like, I don't need you doing that. Like, I appreciate the solidarity and I appreciate the support and everything, but I don't need you putting your arm around me while I'm taking a piss, man. That's not what we do. And not only that, even when you go in the urinal, man, like, hey, man, give me some space, man. I take this urinal, you give it space, and then there's another urinal, you go ahead and take that one. You got to leave that one urinal gap, like, so that you don't have to put your arm around your boy while he's taking a piss. But also, at the gas station, on the chips, like, what the chips do to you? Like, your card is declined because you ain't got no money, bruh. You ain't got no money. So you piss on the chips because the card was declined because you ain't got no money? Why you mad at the chips, B? Why you mad at the gas station, bruh? It ain't the gas station fault that you ain't got no money, man. Come on, man. We got... Oh, I'm not going to say we. These niggas got to do better.
Stares into the cell phone camera of the clerk, asking,
We on green light?
To answer his question, yup, he is on green light cameras, monitored by Detroit police.
He thinks it's okay. So that's another thing too for you guys who are not from Detroit. Like, there's this thing in Detroit where they got like these green lights on like business establishments and things like that. And essentially, these businesses have allowed for the city to come in and install cameras and security cameras and to surveil what's happening in their establishments. Now, I know the videos that y'all see on the news look all grainy and shit. Nah, man, that's not what they look like to the Detroit police when they get those videos. The motherfuckers are in 4K. They know what the fuck you look like. They see your ass clear as goddamn day. Don't fuck around and find out. Don't fuck around and find out because you decided you want to be stupid at the gas station. They know how good or how bad your ass is looking while you out here fucking up.
This is a joke. Well, we'll be seeing them pretty soon.
But wait, now the crew helps themselves to some free snacks, even the soiled ones on the ground.
It's in the bathroom. Don't on my chips. Now I can't buy chips for 2 weeks.
Y'all should be very ashamed of yourself. I wouldn't even come outside, show my face.
It wasn't.
Yeah, shout out to OG, man. Shout out to OG because he's speaking the truth. This nigga pissed on the chips and then decided he was going to steal the chips that he pissed on. Come on, man. Come on. Is it crack? Is it crack you smoking? It's got to be something else in the weed, man. Like, I know, like, we got the like, you know, recreational weed is a thing here in Michigan now. I know we got weed dispensaries all over the place. Not too far from my crib, they about to have a weed consumption bar, man. Like I can go to the bar and smoke weed. Like, that's a thing. It's happening, right? It's got to be something else on the weed. It's got to be something else, man, because nothing else makes sense than for you to go in the store, be mad at the goddamn gas station because your card is declined, piss on the chips, and then steal the chips that you pissed on. That don't even make sense, man. It don't make sense.
Just his face he showed on the way out before finally leaving, pants down again. This time a full moon for the clerk.
They let you slide with 5 cents, 10 cents, you know what I mean?
We don't deserve this.
No.
A police report has been filed, and even worse, this video, it's everywhere.
You wanted to be famous? Now you're famous.
Detroit police tell me they have identified the guy you saw in the video relieving himself. They're asking that he turn himself in. Even if he doesn't, they'll find him. Reporting downtown Detroit, Jessica Dupnack.
Yeah, man, that's just that's just stupid. That's just dumb, man. I can't believe these niggas did that. Like, we got some old comments here in the chat room. Man, Horatio says 4K in 4K, bruh. They in 4 motherfucking K, man. Like, I can't believe these fools out here, right? Like, being, you got to be high, man. You got to be high. You got another comment here. He said, Greg, he said for 2 weeks waiting for that stock to rotate out. Wait, what are we talking about? 2 weeks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know you're talking about. My man was talking about he can't get no chips in that store for 2 weeks. Like, yeah, man, I don't know if I'll be buying no chips. Boy, he pissed all on the Slim Jims and the fucking and the fruit twists, man. Like, I can't even give him a fruit twist, man. I like the green apple fruit twist, but man, I'm peed all over him, man. They got to get rid of all of that shit. And the other was like, they got this dude face and license plate number from his car. Like, man, dumb. Ain't no other way to explain it, man. Just dumb, man. That's just dumb. But that's in Blue Blazers, man. Real talk. Now, another story that we have here in Blue Blazers. Let me pull that down. But another story that we have here in Blue Blazers has to deal with one Monique and Lee Daniels, man. Monique and Lee Daniels have squashed a beef. As a matter of fact, Lee Daniels has apologized to Monique for his treatment of her after her refusal to promote the movie Precious because she wasn't getting paid for that shit. Yeah, man, we get the story here. This comes out of theroot.com. It says that April Fool's Day on the internet is a weird place. You can't believe anything you read, but also smart celebrities will put out real stories and hope they get lost in a cloud of nonsense. However, something real and amazing did happen on Friday. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Oscar-winning actress Monique and writer-director Lee Daniels have ended a 13-year feud. In a video posted to Twitter, he joined the actress on stage at her Monique and Friends April Fool's Day with the Queen of Comedy show at the St. George Theater on Staten Island and finally apologized publicly to the star, saying, "I am so sorry for hurting you in any way that I did." The pair have been feuding since working together on 2009's Precious. Monique chose not to participate in the film's awards campaign, which included attending parties and events in support of the critically acclaimed project for the film during award season, as it meant more time away from her family. She eventually won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, but didn't get the career bump that usually comes with such a big win. In the aftermath of the situation, she accused Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry, the film's producers, of blackballing her in the industry, leading to a lack of subsequent offers. While on stage at Monique's comedy event on Friday, the United States vs. Billie Holiday director continued the reconciliation, stating that she was my best friend. Y'all think that Precious was that was God working through both of us. This is a far cry from his 2015 statement to The Hollywood Reporter, saying that Monique is a creative force to be reckoned with. Her demands through Precious were not always in line with the campaign. This soured her relationship with the Hollywood community. I consider her a friend. I have and will always think of her as parts that we can collaborate on. However, the consensus among the creative teams and powers thus far were to go another way with these roles. So, I'm going to just say this, man, when it comes to Monique, she's kept it consistent and she's kept it thorough, right? One of the things that I think consistency does for you is that when you stay in your principles, depending on where your principles, lie and things like that, especially when it comes to different sides of a story, if you stay consistent, sometimes people come back to you, right? The wave comes back to you. I can remember when Monique made her request for Netflix or for folks to boycott Netflix because they lowballed her on a comedy special. Excuse me. How people took that as like, yo, man, Monique's not funny. Nobody's checking for Monique like that, this, that, and the other. She should have just renegotiated or negotiated for more, or just did that and then come back to prove to people that folks are willing to come out and support her in that way. And she got a lot of flack for that. She got a lot of fucking flack for that. But when Dave Chappelle decided that with the same company, with Netflix, when Netflix was airing the Chappelle show, and he was like, yo, man, I would appreciate if y'all not show this shit, and Netflix, kind of acquiesced to that. And people yeah, man, that's how you show them. It's yeah. The response to Dave Chappelle and Monique and their request were met very differently. Now that could be contingent upon hey man, more people like Dave Chappelle than they do Monique, right? But it's interesting how when certain people get behind a thing, how suddenly those ties start to change. And that goes back into the whole thing we talk about when it comes to celebrity and how folks are very fucking fickle, man. So recently 50 Cent said that like, yo, man, what happened to Monique is wrong, and I'm gonna find a role for Monique in my Power series and all these other things and shit, right? And people are like, yeah, man, you know what happened to Monique is wrong. This is some bullshit, that's and the other. But these are some of the same people who were talking like, you know, real greasy about Monique when she was making her request for them to like kind of like have her back on the Netflix thing, right? And so to see that like folks come around on Monique because the apologies are coming, because folks are looking at Monique and like, yo, man, maybe what we did to Monique or what happened to Monique was wrong. And so now everybody's kind of coming back around on what this means for Monique and how they reconcile, how they feel about her, how they feel about her work, what she should be able to do, what she's doing now. It's been real interesting to kind of watch how people flip on that depending on, you know, the news cycle. Right, it's been real interesting, and so when I hope the sister wins, man. Like real talk. One of the overarching themes of the last few weeks, I think, is how we look at Black women and how we deem which of these women are worthy of our support, how these women or which of these women are worthy of our protection, and whether or not we will give it to them or not. Monique is one of the case studies in this, like and how we talk about it and how we present it and how we examine this thing. I really do believe that like there's a thing that's happening and it's like kind of always around. But we are constantly in this thing of when it comes to Black women, whether or not they deserve the protection and whether or not we should give it to them or not. And I think that's what's going on with Monique and with Jada Pinkett Smith and plenty of other like different instances and stuff. But yeah, it's been real interesting to kind of like watch how we talk about these things and how the media and the news cycle changes it, and how when popular opinion changes, how quickly so many people flip on that as well. So yeah, man, that's in the news. I'm sorry, not the news, but in Blue Blazes. Another story that we have here in Blue Blazes has to do with the fact that Detroit was somehow seen as the #1 pizza city in the United States of America.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, because this got to be a goddamn joke, man. We get this story here. This comes out of fox2detroit.com. I believe there's video attached to this. Yes, there is video. So we going to see how the fuck do they explain this, man. How in the fuck do Detroit of all cities become the #1 city for pizza in the whole damn United States of America? Like, now, like, let's keep it a buck. How many of y'all, when you heard about the best city for pizza in America, how many of y'all had Detroit as y'all #1? I'll wait. Yeah, that's some bullshit, right? That's some bullshit. So we're going to pull this story up. This comes out of fox2detroit.com, this video. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video so you guys can.
Been called many things, the 313, the Motor City, Hitsville, USA, and Hockey Town. Detroit has a lot of great nicknames over the years.
But tonight, one website is declaring that Motown is actually Doughtown for being the country's best pizza city. Fox 2's Charlie Langton live tonight, as always, with some food and maybe some drinks. I don't know. Charlie, how's it going out there? What do you have?
Food and drinks, Taryn. You know what? You're right. Absolutely. A very difficult assignment today, trying to find the best pizza in all of Metro Detroit. I didn't have to do it. There's a survey that said that Detroit is the #1 pizza city in the entire country. I'll tell you what, I'm in East Point right now here at Cloverleaf. Hey, Jerry, how long have you been coming to Cloverleaf?
I've been coming since I've been 15.
Jerry's sitting there with a salad. He ain't even got a goddamn pizza in front of him. Ain't no pizza on that table, goddamn it. But they talking about pizza.
Years old since Gus had the first place.
How many years ago was that? How old are you?
76 now.
All right, we'll figure it out later. All right, thanks. Hey, don't joke on that stuff. Let me go over here. Hold on. All right, Cloverleaf, obviously a very popular place here. What did I find here? We've got here a pizza expert. Karen is actually writing a book about pizza, a pizza historian. All right, did this survey, did they get it right?
They got it right. Detroit is the most
Bullshit. She's a pizza expert. How? Because she said so? Because she writing a book? Bullshit. I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it at all.
passionate place for pizza in the whole United States.
Bullshit.
Is there a
Bullshit.
Detroit-style pizza?
There is. Detroit Style was born here at 6 and Conant at Buddy's and expanded out to Cloverleaf, Louie's, and all these great pizza joints.
Bullshit. Let's put this shit to bed right motherfucking now. I'm not gonna even go fuck this. I'm tired of this story already. Detroit style pizza is a fucking pan pizza, man. Y'all know where y'all got pan pizzas first? Pizza Hut, nigga. Pizza Hut is a pan pizza. Detroit style pizza is nothing other than a pizza, like it is a pan pizza. They put the motherfucker in the pan and they get the crispy edges and that's it. The only difference between the Detroit style and the Pizza Hut style is the pan pizza from Pizza Hut comes in a circle. That's it. That's the difference. That's it. So they don't even like this idea that like Detroit style pizza, like, and what confused the fuck out of me though was like when like Pizza Hut was like, yeah man, let's get in on this whole Detroit style pizza shit and let's come up with a Detroit style pizza. You know how easy? You know why it was so easy for them to do it? Because they were already fucking doing it. It was already a thing. I'm so angry about this shit.
Cheese on the side, sauce on top.
And that's a really Detroit. How many different pizza places do we have here in Detroit?
Oh, there's hundreds of pizza places, mostly independent, some chain, but we always do it right, make it homemade.
All right, beautiful stuff. All right, thank you. By the way, her book is Pizza. It's coming out early, I think, next year, right? All right, we'll be looking for that. All right, so I couldn't get to every pizza place, but I tried to pick a few. Take a look.
Whole milk mozzarella, natural casing pepperoni, lots of passion, lots of pride.
Well, it's hard to judge the best pizza in Metro Detroit, but collectively, the website AnytimeEstimate.com says...
Okay, so that's the thing. That's it right there. AnytimeEstimate.com. Who the fuck heard AnytimeEstimate.com before this damn story? Anybody? Nobody heard of that shit before. So this is why that shit don't count. Detroit ain't the motherfucking best pizza city in America. That's Chicago. I stand on that shit from right now to the day I die. It's Chicago. And for all of y'all who think the Chicago pizza is just the deep dish style pizza, trust and believe most Chicagoans don't even eat deep dish style pizza. That's for you tourist motherfuckers, okay? The deep dish style pizza, yeah, we can eat that shit. It's good pizza too, right? But we eat the tavern style, right? We eat the party cut pizza, man. We eat our thin crust shit, and it be banging, man. Whether you going to Giordano's, whether you going to Home Run Inn, whether you going to Demenzo's, whether you going to Beggars, like it's so many different spots in Chicago, man. It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to pizza in Chicago. It's crazy. And so the fact that they talk about Detroit, nobody ever thought about Detroit as a pizza mecca. It's a fucking travesty. It's a goddamn lie. And I would not be a part of this bullshit. I'm sorry. But yo, man, that's been Blue Blazes.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
Oh man.
Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
But y'all know what time it is, y'all. Nope, it's not time for that. Wait, I'm sorry. You know what it is time for that. Well, we're out here denying COVID-19, and we don't really want your goddamn vaccine, but we will jump on TikTok searching for cloud. So I guess you can say we fucked around and found out. We fucked around and found out. Fuck around and find out. Oh, fuck around and find out. Yeah. All right. So we got a few comments here in the chat room. The chat room is in here talking, man. And my man William in here in the chat room, he says, I was killing all my brain cells trying to figure that one out. Yeah. And they really stretching this market, stretching to market this. And we talk about the Detroit style pizza, man, because like, yo, they are really, really, really trying to make this a thing. Now, my father-in-law is in the chat room right now, man. Shout out to my father-in-law, Roscoe. I love you, man. He says, those who know. Hey, Pops. I ain't buying it, man. I ain't buying it, man. I can't. It's not a thing, Pops. It's not a thing. Oh, man. I got my man William in. He's like, Detroit got a corner on the Coney Islands, though. That I will agree with you on. Like, if you want a good chili dog or the Coney Island, man, Detroit does have that on lock. Now, it depends on which Coney Island you go to. You got to go to one of the hood spots. Don't go to, like, no Leo's. Don't go to, like, no national Coney Island. You got to go to one of the hood spots, man. You got to go to the Coney Islands that look like they got a few health code violations. Them the ones that got the best flavor on the Coney dogs, man. Real talk. And somebody else said, nah, Chicago makes that cake pizza, the pizza cake, son. Hey, man, you can't get away with that disrespect. I just talked to you about disrespect, man. We just talked about disrespect, man. I can't allow you to come on my podcast and disrespect the Chicago pizza, man. It's going to be a thing. It's on site when I see you, Greg. No. Real talk, man. But he said the thing. So yeah, man. It's COVID-19 is still a thing. COVID-19 is still a thing out here, and we got to talk about it right now. The ironic thing is, I low key should have probably kept this story in Blue Blazes, because this is more of a Blue Blazes story than it is a fuck around and find out story, right? But yeah, man, let me pull this story up because it's actually kind of crazy. There was a man who allegedly got 90, count them, 90 COVID-19 vaccine shots so he could sell the goddamn vaccination cards. More like, yeah, so we get the story here. This comes out of CBS News. It says a 60-year-old man allegedly had himself vaccinated against COVID-19 dozens of times in Germany in order to sell forged vaccination cards with real vaccine batch numbers to people not wanting to get vaccinated themselves. The man from the eastern German city of Magdeburg, whose name, whose name was not released in line with German privacy rules, is said to have received up to 90 shots against COVID-19 at vaccination centers in the eastern state of Saxony for months until criminal police caught him this month, the German news agency DPA reported Sunday. The suspect wasn't detained, but is under investigation for unauthorized issuance of vaccination cards and document forgery, DPA reported. He was caught at a vaccination center in Ellenberg in Saxony when he showed up for a COVID-19 shot for the second day in a row. Police. He showed up 2 days in a row for the same fucking vaccine at the same spot. Oh, boy. Said police confiscated several blank vaccination cards from him and initiated criminal proceedings. It wasn't immediately clear what impact the approximately 90 shots of COVID-19 vaccines, which were from different brands, had on the man's health. German police have conducted many raids in connection with forgery of vaccination passports in recent months. Many COVID-19 deniers refuse to get vaccinated in Germany, but at the same time want to have the coveted COVID-19 passports that make access to public life and venues such as restaurants, theaters, swimming pools, or workplaces much easier. Germany has seen high infection numbers for weeks, yet many measures to rein in the pandemic ended on Friday. Donning masks is no longer compulsory in grocery stores and most theaters, but it's still mandatory on public transportation. So, yeah, man, again, I will never really quite understand the people who will just go and like they just want to buy the vaccination cards as opposed to just going ahead and getting themselves vaccinated and protecting themselves from this particular disease. The fact that this man was putting his life on the line, like I don't like, that's the other part. I'm like, so is there not a such thing as a COVID-19 vaccine overdose? Because this man was like, he had 90 shots. This motherfucker showed up at the same vaccination site twice in 2 days. Like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. But like, I guess he fucked around and found out in the sense that he went to jail, right? but he wasn't a COVID denier. Like, he was actually out here getting the shots. He was taking the shots so other people didn't have. He was out here pulling, hey man, I went through that so you didn't have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? He out here pulling the Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? But yo, man, that has been Fuck Around and Find Out. Well, we're out here denying the COVID-19, and we don't really want your goddamn vaccine, but we will jump on TikTok searching for cloud. So I guess you could say we fucked around and found out. We fucked around and found out. Fuck around and find out. Whoa, whoa. Fuck around and find out. Yeah. Oh man. Listen, y'all, I sang the shit and it gets me every time too. So there's that. But yo, it's time for this here though.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Yeah, that's enough of that shit. It's Proud to Be an American time here at the Spann Report podcast, man. And our first story here in Proud to Be an American has to do with the fact that, yo, man, we now have the first African-American woman confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States. But more appropriately though, just yeah, it's a goddamn party, right? Like, yo, man, black girl magic all over the place when it comes to, like, you know, justice, the undeniable, not the honorable, but the honorable and the undeniable Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was confirmed to the United States Supreme Court this past Thursday. And we get the story here. This comes out of CNBC.com. It says the Senate on Thursday confirmed Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, making her the 116th justice and the first black woman to serve on the top U.S. court. The 53-47 final vote tally showed bipartisan support for Jackson, with 3 Republicans joining all Democrats to elevate the 51-year-old federal judge to a lifetime appointment to the high court. This is a great moment for Judge Jackson, but it is a greater moment for America as we rise to a more perfect union, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York said before the vote. Jackson is President Joe Biden's first Supreme Court nominee. She will replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer, 83, who was confirmed to the bench in 1994. Vice President Kamala Harris, the first black woman ever to hold that title, presided over the vote to confirm Jackson. Harris appeared to momentarily choke up with emotion as she read out the vote result, which drew a swell of applause and cheering from the Senate floor. Jackson will join a court that has grown substantially more conservative following the appointment of 3 of former President Donald Trump's nominees. Her addition will maintain the size of the court's liberal wing, which is outnumbered 6-3 by the conservative bloc. Just 5 women, Sandra Day O'Connor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Amy Coney Barrett have served on the Supreme Court. Only 2 black men, Thurgood Marshall and Clarence Thomas, have ever been appointed to the bench. No black women have previously sat on the high court. Now, the reason why this isn't Proud to Be in America, because, you know, for those of you who've been listening to the Spann Report podcast for long enough to know, like, we say this in jest, right? Proud to be an American is kind of tongue in cheek. It's ironic, and like most of the stories that are in Proud to Be an American are like, yeah, not really, right? But yo, it's kind of like 2 at the same time, right? We're proud in the sense that, like, yo, this is a historic moment. This is something that should have happened a long time ago. And we're proud that it happened. But also, like, nigga, why the fuck did it take so long for this shit to be a thing? Right? Like, like, yeah, it's here and it's happening and we're happy for it and everything. But, like, yo, it's a goddamn shame that this is the first. We're still having the first African-American to do this. The first African-American to do that. The first like, it's a goddamn shame that we're still having these first now, right? And so the other part about it is this, man. So, like, I saw people who were watching the confirmation hearings in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we saw how they were trying to besmirch this woman's character, how they were trying to kind of, they were not so much not just besmirching her character, but also mischaracterizing her tenure as a judge in the federal court system, right? And trying to make it out as though this woman was being light on child sex offenders, and that she was being light on child pornographers, and that she was being light on holding people accountable for committing crimes, when she was in the mainstream of what it was to be a judge and handling those types of cases. And they tried to zero in on a few cases where they thought that she should have been like handling it in the way in which the sentencing guidelines should have gone, where oftentimes it's like, yo, man, these guidelines are kind of outdated, and we should probably update these motherfuckers considering what the laws are, and how certain things happen, right? So she had purview, she had some discretion, and she exercised that discretion, and they tried to, besmirch her because she was exercising that discretion. But the infuriating thing about this, couple things. One, a lot of Republicans tried to equate her treatment during the Senate confirmation hearings with the treatment that Amy Coney Barrett got during her confirmation hearings, despite the fact that Amy Coney Barrett hadn't tried a case as a judge, despite the fact that Amy Coney Barrett had only been a judge for a few months, despite the fact that Amy Coney Barrett didn't necessarily have the experience, but somehow she rose up to be a Supreme Court justice. They tried to compare the treatment that Brett Kavanaugh got during his Senate confirmation hearings by the Democrats, despite the fact that he was credibly accused of sexual assault. And they tried to conflate that treatment for having legitimate questions about sexual assault and the character of the judge before them with Ketanji Brown Jackson, who they didn't necessarily have the same. She was kind of unassailable in the sense that they wanted to come after her. So they had to figure out a way to come at her to make her seem like a boogeyman. So they started creating these things to talk about. Like you had Senator Marsha Blackburn talking about her being, incorporating critical race theory. Like the fact that they really cemented critical race theory as a boogeyman on the right is like amazing, especially when you know how that shit started and like the origins of it. Like when you know that it's complete and utter bullshit and it's a talking point to get their base riled up, it's all the more infuriating. But the fact that Ketanji Brown Jackson, or Justice Brown Jackson, was able to hold her composure, was able to not allow them to pull her out of her character, allow them to make her come out of her composure, was a testament to what is it that I want to say here? I don't even know how to put it. I really don't know how to put it, but there's a thing that we as black people understand, is that when you're in a job interview, or that when you're in a situation where you're around a bunch of people who are not of the culture, or not are black, or you're in a room full of white folks, and somebody says something crazy, and in this moment you could be the angry black person, or you can subdue your passions in that moment, say something that needs to be said, but also subdue those passions because you really want to snatch the fucking throat. You really want to snatch their fucking larynx out of their throat, right? You really want to do that. And there was a couple instances during the Senate confirmations hearings where you could tell yo, man, if this motherfucker was right in front of me, I'd probably knock the shit out of him right now. But she couldn't do that, right? Because we don't necessarily have that license. And juxtapose that with how Brett Kavanaugh acted during his Senate confirmation hearing, the sneering and the groveling and the victimization that white man felt because somebody was like, hey man, so this shit that you was accused of doing and this other white woman accused you of doing, so what's up with that? And he felt as though he was being put upon. Meanwhile, these white dudes, these senators coming at this woman with what they know is complete and utter bullshit coming at her with this, and how she just had to like comport herself to like, yo man, I just can't fuck this up, right? I can't get angry like a Brett Kavanaugh got angry. I can't sneer like a Brett Kavanaugh sneered. I can't do any of that because that will blow this entire situation. That will blow this entire opportunity up for me. And so the fact that she was able to hold her composure was impressive. Was impressive because your mans couldn't do it. I'm just telling y'all right now, I couldn't do it. There's a reason why your boy ain't nowhere close to those type of like those types of the echelons of those types of accomplishments and things like that. But yo man, it's a beautiful thing to see this sister become the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Hopefully she will not be the last one to sit on the Supreme Court. Hopefully she won't be the last one before your man Spann checks out this boy, right? But it was a beautiful thing to see her, to get that seat, to get confirmed. But the other thing about it is this, man. I want everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice to really take heed to this. So she was met with a lot of Republican resistance in those confirmation hearings. And they basically said the loud part, like they said the quiet part out loud, that had Republicans been in control of the Senate confirmation, the Senate Judiciary Committee, that she would not have gotten a hearing. Let's make this very clear. They knew that woman was qualified. They don't care whether or not she was qualified. If she doesn't fall in line with the Republican Party line, they have pretty much made it clear that like, yo, if we get control of the House and the Senate, y'all not getting another motherfucking hearing. It's the same thing that they did with Merrick Garland, who's the current Attorney General of the United States. He was also up for Supreme Court of the United States. They didn't even give that man a hearing. Now they're just coming out and saying like, yeah, man, we get control of if we get control of the Congress, yeah, y'all not getting another hearing for these court appointments, right? So I just want y'all to I want y'all to understand what's at stake when we go to these polls in November. That the Supreme Court is on the line, and the Supreme Court is going to determine a lot. The balance of Congress is on the line, and the balance of Congress is going to determine a lot. So I just want people to I want people to understand that, and just take heed to those things, man. Real talk. That's Proud to Be an American. Another story that we got here in Proud to Be an American has to do with the fact that there was a plot here in Michigan where there was a plot to kidnap the governor, man, and possibly kill the governor during the COVID-19 outbreak. We were somewhat of a lockdown and everything, and there were some folks who were upset at the fact that we were under lockdown. Well, those people who were accused of plotting to kidnap the governor, well, guess what? These motherfuckers got exonerated, man. They got found not guilty.
Yes, that sounds like an excellent idea.
No, that's not excellent at all, man. So we'll get this story here. This comes out of CBSNews.com. As a matter of fact, this video. So let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second while I pull this up here. Let me do this and let me do this. Yeah, so check this out, y'all. Let's see what they're talking about here on CBS News. Well, they let me play. No, let's not do that. Not now. I do not want y'all to give me notifications. Just play the damn video. Okay, let me refresh this screen because apparently this shit ain't acting right. All right. Let's see what they're talking about now. Will it play? Okay. Let's act like we're not podcasting right now, computer. Let's go ahead and just load this shit up, Shout out to Comcast for these supposed gigs.
In Grand Rapids, Michigan, the federal trial of four militia members charged in what prosecutors said was a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer ended in 2 acquittals and a hung jury for 2 others. Adriana Diaz reports on this significant defeat for the federal government in a case that was a centerpiece of their heavy focus on domestic terrorism.
Prosecutors failed to convince the entire jury that the men were guilty. Brandon Caserta and Dan Harris, the only defendant to take the stand, were found not guilty. The jury was deadlocked on all counts for Adam Fox and Barry Croft Jr. Prosecutors painted them as the ringleaders, hell-bent on enacting a second civil war. But the defense said the real masterminds were FBI informants, who they say encouraged the kidnapping conversations.
I think what the FBI did is unconscionable, and I think the jury just sent them a message loud and clear that these tactics are not going to be, we're not going to condone what they've done here.
The government's kidnapping and weapons charges centered around an alleged plan to grab Governor Gretchen Whitmer from her vacation home, strand her on a boat on Lake Michigan, and blow up a nearby bridge to impede law enforcement. Some of the men met at open carry protests at the state capitol in 2020, rallying against Michigan's COVID-19 restrictions. They spent much of the summer of 2020 complaining, training with guns, and drinking and smoking alongside the confidential informants. Those meetings resulted in thousands of hours of video and audio evidence, including when Croft declared a team should be ready for a precise quick grab. Whitmer, Michigan, Whitmer.
Okay, so here's the thing that doesn't really make sense to me, right? First things first. When COVID-19 first hit the United States, at the time, Donald Trump was president of the United States. The Justice Department was being led by someone appointed by Donald Trump, right? Governor Gretchen Whitmer was a staunch opponent of Donald Trump. Many of the policies that she put down here in the state of Michigan to kind of pull us out of the COVID-19 pandemic were being derided by Republicans and Donald Trump specifically. Donald Trump was really that woman from Michigan. He was really coming down on her hard. And so it's like the rhetoric around Republicans and conservatives around the things that she was doing to try to mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic here in America or here in Michigan were exasperating a lot of these Republican or conservative vote leaning people, right? Or these militias, however you describe them, right? So what doesn't make sense to me, what doesn't make sense is the FBI, while under the tutelage or while under the appointment of Donald Trump, that the FBI will be sending FBI agents to Michigan to entrap Western Michigan dudes in a plot to kidnap the governor, right? Also, how do you get ensnared in the plot to kidnap the governor of a fucking state, man? How does that happen? How do you be in yo, yeah, man, we should snatch that bitch, man. We should go ahead and snatch her, man, put her on trial and shit, man. We should go ahead and do, the government needs to, the government entraps you into some shit like that. The government makes you say you gonna kidnap a whole ass elected official so that you can go ahead and because you don't agree with the COVID-19 restrictions and the fact that yo, we were hey, you gotta wear a mask, or these stores are only gonna be open for such X amount of hours, or hey, this type of store can't be open, or you can't be in a bar, or these all these different things are happening. And so make it make sense to me. Make it make sense that the FBI was entrapping some white dudes in Western Michigan to kidnap their governor. Now, also, when this was going on, man, and they said this trial had closed, and that the jurors were having trouble coming to a verdict and everything. I think they wanted to, I want to say that they was deliberative for 4 or 5 days. When they went into the third day, I was yeah, they getting off. They getting off. Because it just didn't make sense, man. They were trying to figure out a way to make it palatable for why these guys were getting off, but they were going to get off, right? And when I heard of the makeup of the jury, it was there was not one black person, there was not one Hispanic person, there was not one Asian person on this jury. It was all white folks on this jury. And yeah, it makes sense to them. Yeah, it was a couple guys, they were just talking, we can't just lock people up for just talking. Because I'm just gonna keep it a buck, man. black folks know it don't work for us like that. We can't be out here plotting against kidnapping fucking government officials and saying we gonna kidnap them and try them and possibly execute them, and like, yo, it's just gonna happen, like they just gonna acquit us of that shit. That's just not how it happens for blood. So you got that going on, and then you got the insurrectionist shit that happened on January 6th. You got the and how many people are not being held accountable for that, and it's just like the frustration of this happening and January 6th happening and nobody really being held accountable for any of it is, I think that is what is going to probably hurt political prospects for Democrats going in 2022 than anything else, because people feel as though like, yo, man, y'all ain't really doing shit, right? Not that might not even necessarily be true, but the idea of it, the press, like the, excuse me, like that may be how people feel. Like, hey man, like we voted y'all in, man. Like, yo, what the fuck? Y'all ain't doing nothing with this shit. Now that's not to say that they're gonna vote for Republicans, but that also means that like, yo, people just gonna probably just say, well, fuck it, they're not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna stay home. That's not the thing that I would do, because like staying home doesn't help us at all. But yeah, man, like the idea that some dudes can plot to kidnap and try and execute a sitting governor and they get acquitted of this shit. I'm like, yeah, come on, man. There's definitely some proud to be an American shit right here, man. Real talk. But yeah, that's what it is. Now, in our last story here, my father-in-law, he's in the chat room. He says, contrast the FBI's infiltration of the Black Panthers. Exactly. You know, like the FBI went and like came all the way up and through there. But at the same time, like they came into the FBI, like the FBI's infiltration of the Black Panthers was to neutralize the Black Panthers. Like the FBI, like this idea that like these dudes needed like the FBI to come in to come up with this the way that they're framing this was that the FBI came in, gave these dudes the idea of kidnapping the governor, and then yeah, we were set up. No, you weren't set up. You were really thinking about doing this. The FBI didn't have to come into here, like didn't have to come to you in order for you to like decide that you wanted to kidnap the governor. Like that, it just really doesn't make sense to me. But yo, man, that's in not Blue Blazers. That's in Proud to be an American. Our last story here in Proud to be an American has to do with the fact that, like, yo, Facebook. We were talking about Facebook earlier when we were talking about terms of service and free speech and everything else. Well, Facebook actually, these people actually went to TikTok. I'm sorry, they went to the Republican Party. Facebook went to the Republican Party and suggested that the Republican Party should help them in besmirching TikTok, their rival in social media. Yeah, man, we get the story here. This comes out of, hold on a second, let me pull this down and let me pull this back up. But we get the story here. This comes out of the Washington Post, and it states that the firm Targeted Victory pushed local operatives across the country to boost messages calling TikTok a threat to American children. The dream would be to get stories with headlines from dances to danger, one campaign director said. Said Facebook parent company Meta is paying one of the biggest Republican consulting firms in the country to orchestrate a nationwide campaign seeking to turn the public against TikTok. The campaign includes placing op-eds and letters to the editor in major regional news outlets, promoting dubious stories about alleged TikTok trends that are actually originated on Facebook, and pushing to draw political reporters and local politicians into helping take down its biggest competitor. These bare-knuckle tactics, long commonplace in the world of politics, have become increasingly noticeable within the tech industry, where companies vie for cultural relevance and come at a time when Facebook is under pressure to win back young users. Employees with the firm Targeted Victory worked to undermine TikTok through a nationwide media and lobbying campaign, portraying the fast-growing app owned by the Beijing-based company ByteDance as a danger to American children and society, according to internal emails shared with the Washington Post. Targeted victory needs to get the message out that while Meta is the current punching bag, TikTok is a real threat, especially as a foreign-owned app that is #1 in sharing data that young teens are using, a director for the firm wrote in a February email. Campaign operators were also encouraged to use TikTok's prominence as a way to deflect from Meta's own privacy and antitrust concerns. Bonus, if we can fit this into a broader message that the current bills and proposals that aren't or were state attorney generals or members of Congress should be focused, a targeted victory staffer wrote. The emails, which have not been previously reported, show the extent to which Meta and its partners will use opposition research tactics on the Chinese-owned multi-billion-dollar rival that has become one of the most downloaded apps in the world, often outranking even Meta's popular Facebook and Instagram apps. In an internal report last year, leaked by the whistleblower Frances Haugen, Facebook researchers said teens were spending 2 to 3 times more time on TikTok than Instagram, and that Facebook's popularity amongst young people had plummeted. Hey man, that ship had long been sailed, right? Facebook's like hold on young people had long sailed, man. Like young people left Facebook for like Snapchat, right? The snappity chap had the kids long time ago. Like the fact that like TikTok is yet another thing that like has like pulled a lot of the kids away from Facebook is just like icing on the cake. But like the kids have been leaving Facebook, man. Here's the thing about Facebook. Although it started as like, this college thing to keep college kids connected and everything else, like truthfully speaking, a lot of kids started once their parents got on Facebook, once their grandparents were on Facebook, a lot of these kids were like, yeah, man, I don't know. So I don't know if I really want to be on this platform anymore. And then other platforms started popping up and they started migrating there. Like, I'm not a young man. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in June. But when I interact with like some of my older family members, like there's a way in which I comport myself on Facebook. Like they're not used to seeing me that way, right? Like I curse a lot, right? It's jarring to some of my older family members because I don't curse around them in the way that like I just let it fly on Facebook. It's jarring to them when they see that. I've had older family members on Facebook like, hey, I can't be your friend on Facebook because I don't know why you curse so much, right? And it's not that I'm like trying to be more acerbic or be more that I'm trying to like be more edgy or anything like that. It's just like, yo, man, this is like when I'm with my friends, this is usually how I'm conversing. And I recognize that, like, respect for elders and things like that. So you kind of you censor yourself around your elders, right? Because I'm not a savage, right? But yeah. So like, if that's happening for me at 41. Can you imagine what it feels like to be 20 years old and your grandma's on Facebook and she's tracking your every word? And you're like, man, I can't really be who the hell I am on Facebook because Granny on here. I got to go someplace else, man, because I don't need Granny to see me like this, right? And so, like, Facebook has been losing these kids for a long time anyway, whether they, like, there's that. But the other part about it is this, is that they went to, and here's what's tripped out about it. They went to Republican operators in order to try to smear TikTok, right? It's very telling that they went to Republican operatives because Republicans are very much enthralled into this idea that we got to protect the kids, right? That's this whole QAnon thing. Like it's very much in how they like try to smear Ketanji Brown Jackson when it came to her sentencing, when it came to people who were in possession of child pornography or some of the cases that involve pedophilia and everything else, like how they tried to smear her cases as though she was out of the mainstream of federal judges across the country when she was not, right? So there's a bit of dog whistling going on there. But the idea that Facebook went to the Republicans and decided that the Republicans were the ones that we need to go there in order to promote this idea that TikTok is dangerous and it's dangerous for the kids, so we can, like, in game. So say for instance, the kids is like, say for instance, like, yo, yeah, we've determined that TikTok is toxic for the kids and this, that, and the other. Does that mean the kids are going to come back to Instagram? Does that mean that they're going to come back to Facebook? No. Excuse me. Doesn't mean it. Doesn't mean they're going to go back to that at all. Coughing fit. It's crazy, right? Let me take a swig real quick. Sorry. Excuse me. That's better. That's better. But yeah, man. These kids are not going to come back to these platforms if they don't feel as though these platforms are going to allow them to be who they are. And I think that's what's missing when it comes to Facebook, is that like they don't understand what Facebook doesn't understand is older as the user base of Facebook gets older. The kids are going to skew towards something else because the kids want to be in a space where they can be who they are and not be monitored in the ways in which they could be on Facebook, right? Like, like my daughter has a Facebook page. She sees the shit that I post on Facebook, but my daughter isn't on Facebook like that. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't post on Facebook. Like if I post my daughter for her birthday and stuff like that, she'll see that. But she's not going to interact on Facebook. She's going to be on TikTok. She's going to be on Instagram. She's going to be on Snapchat and things like that. She's just not on the Facebook like that. And so I think they have to understand that like it's not so much that like the existence of TikTok is like the existence of parents. It's the existence of elders in their family who are also using these social media apps that are like kind of keeping these kids away from there, because they're like, yo man, I can't really be who I am. I can't really, without being checked and all this other stuff. It's like, yo man, I want a space where I can be myself with my friends. And so that's really what it boils down to. But the fact that Facebook is like engaging in this sort of like shit right here, and it is ironic in the sense when you got Republicans who are talking about how they're being censored on these particular platforms, and yet Facebook is reaching out to them in order to take out another social media app, man. It's kind of crazy, man. But yo, man, that has been proud to be an American.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Yeah, but it's time for us to get on out of here. But we're not gonna do it the way in which we normally do it. We got an ass Saturday week, and it's been a while.
Yo, we got some hats now, motherfuckers.
We got an ass hat of the week here this week here at the Spann Report podcast, man. And our ass hat of the week here at the Spann Report podcast is none other than Channing Crowder, man. Channing Crowder is the ass hat of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast. And the reason why Channing Crowder is the ass hat of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast has to do with the fact that Channing Crowder went on his podcast called The Pivot. And he decided that he wanted to speak on the fact that Sierra decided that she was going to be with someone like a Russell Wilson after having been with someone like rapper Future. Yeah. And he called Russell Wilson a square. So we get the story here. This comes out of complexnews.com. It says that former Miami Dolphins linebacker Channing Crowder is facing backlash after he said he doesn't understand why Sierra would leave Future for a square Russell Wilson. On the latest episode of the Pivot podcast, Crowder referred to Wilson as both a square and a goofball, while suggesting Sierra is only with him for the money. If Russell didn't have that bread, Sierra wouldn't be with him. Sierra, she was a good situation. She has a good situation, he said. You don't leave Future and get with Russell Wilson. It's a type. Everybody has a type. And I love him on the field, but he's a fucking square. While his co-hosts Fred Taylor and Ryan Clark pushed back against Crowder's comments, it wasn't enough to stop some people online from calling him out. Wilson, who was traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos last month, first began dating Sierra in 2015, and they later married in 2016. Sierra was initially engaged to Future in 2013, but she called off their engagement in 2014 because of his infidelity. She had one child with Future, and she has two with Wilson. After facing criticism on Twitter for his unprompted comments about Wilson and Sierra's relationship, Crowder shared a photo of Wilson at the 2012 NFL Draft alongside his former girlfriend, Ashton Meem. Check out some of the reactions to Crowder's comments below. We're not going to do all of that, but the reason why we're not going to do all of that is because it's not necessary. And I'm just going to say this, man. It's weird. It's weird that Russell Wilson is out here loving on his wife, loving on his children, loving on his stepson. And all that man seems to get from other cornball motherfuckers is derision for doing what many people would consider the right thing to do. If loving your wife is corny, color your man Spann corny. If loving your children is corny, color your man Spann corny. If not cheating on your wife is corny, then color your man Spann corny too. I'm part of that corny crowd. Like, I don't understand, like, the idea that a woman choosing to be in a situation that brings her peace somehow being problematic for so many of you niggas. And maybe it's because some of you motherfuckers ain't worth a goddamn. Maybe it's because some of you niggas ain't about shit, and you know you ain't about shit, and you not about to try to produce a life that's about shit. But I don't get, like, why that dude who's minding his own motherfucking business more often than not. Like, Russell Wilson ain't out here in everybody else's shit. Russell Wilson be out there, like, he play football, man. He love on his wife, man, and he just exists and shit, like, love it. It's crazy, like, how upset you niggas get about it. It makes absolutely no sense. And these are coming from some of the same niggas who talk about, you know, the destruction of the black family and the destruction of the black man. Meanwhile, engaging in some of the same bullshit y'all call yourself calling out. It don't make sense, man. So, Channing Crowder is an asshat of the week, man. We haven't had an asshat in quite some time. But the fact that this man, like, unprompted, like, that's the thing, man. Like, nobody was asking for this, dog. Like, no, like, I don't even know how this shit even came up. Nobody asked for that, dog. Like, and so many of y'all are going, so it's weird, because on social media, like, yo, like, Future has a hive too. So many of you niggas are so enthralled at the fact that, like, yo, man, Sierra actually found somebody after an ain't shit nigga that loved on her. How dare that nigga love on her? How dare he? And this goes back into the idea. This goes back into all of this shit is intertwined, man. The idea of who and how black women are seen to, or better yet, how we determine which black women are worthy of protection and whether we give it to them or not. Right? Some of y'all see Sierra as someone who isn't worthy of protection. And so someone like a Russell Wilson is like, y'all, like, yeah, man, he fucking the game up because she's not worthy of said protection. Some of y'all look at Ketanji Brown Jackson even. Her husband's white. She's not worthy of all this protection and the celebration that she's getting. Some of y'all look at Jada Pinkett Smith. Oh, man, Jada Pinkett was out here fucking with August Alsina, man. Why he ain't had the energy for August Alsina, but he got all his energy in for Chris Rock. He would have did this, that, and the other for Chris Rock. Like y'all got all this, like, y'all say all of this because y'all think that Jada Pinkett isn't worthy of said protection. All of this is around all of these situations. Come full circle in the fact that there are black women in America that y'all think that y'all don't think are worthy of the protection that is given to them, and any dude who's willing to give that to them is somehow a sucker, somehow a lame, somehow a square, somehow a goofball, when ultimately all of that shit applies to y'all dumbasses. Every last one of y'all who go out of your way to tell people that, like, these women ain't worthy of the defense that they get. Right? You go out of your way to say it. And it's interesting because I know y'all got women around you. I know y'all got women in y'all lives who are listening to the words that y'all are saying, man. They listening to y'all. And they know I couldn't depend on this nigga for none of this shit, man. I couldn't. Because he don't believe I'm even worthy of it. I couldn't depend on this nigga to defend me. I couldn't depend on this motherfucker to look after me. because he don't believe I'm worthy of it. They listening to y'all. Y'all telling yourselves every motherfucking day. Y'all telling yourselves. And it's sad, man. Like, I be embarrassed for a lot of you niggas, man, because it's fucking sad. But, yeah, man, like, that's what it is, man. I mean, ultimately, that's what it boils down to. A lot of you motherfuckers just simply don't believe a lot of these women are worthy of the love and respect and protection that they get from the men that love and want to protect them in their lives, man. And that's what it boils down to. But, yeah, man, I've been running my mouth for a good long while. It's midnight. I should have had my ass in the bed already. But we going to get on up out of here. But, of course, before we do, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us here at the Spann Report Podcast and let your voice be heard, man. Go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Go ahead, leave us those voicemails. Those voicemails will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. It doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody else know while you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. Also, go to our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like, and we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. Yeah, that's everything. I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, y'all take it easy and peace.